The Jewish story. This week's story from the Holocaust is taken from the book Judaism, Antisemitism and Holocaust, Making the Connections, written by David Patterson. In his Holocaust memoir, Samuel Pisar testifies that there were Jews in Majdanek who said their prayers during the high holy days under the threat of death. In the darkness, he writes, with prison caps for yarmulkas, every man stood in front of his bunk, facing Jerusalem. Without the chance of a cantor to guide him, every man mumbled softly, lest we be heard by the roaming guards and their vicious dogs, whatever prayers he could remember. Pisar's image of prison caps turned into yarmulkas, a mark of death made into a sign of life, exemplifies the dialectical nature of prayer in the midst of memory. Why these prayers despite the death that breathes down their necks? Because without these prayers, these Jews are dead as Jews, dead therefore as human beings. Without these prayers, God is dead. You have turned us over to death? No matter, our memory will return us to life, and you as well. You would reduce our tradition to ashes? Then we shall fetch from those ashes the fire that ignites our prayers. We shall dance like souls on fire, in remembrance of the flames that consumed our souls, in remembrance of Rebbe Leib, son of the great Maggid of Mezrich, who cried out to his fellow Jews, "Your dancing counts far more than my prayers." In prayers transformed into dance, praying as they danced, a group of 100 rabbis danced one night at Birkenau by the terrible light of the crematoria. The angel of death, Mengele himself, had ordered them to dance and sing. But then Sarah Nomberg-Prizdek remembers they began chanting the Kol Nidre. Now they were no longer singing in obedience to Mengele's orders. They were singing their affirmation of the one God, who alone determines the absolute prohibition against the murder that the Nazis perpetrated. Should they have rejected God? No. If they had, the Nazis would have had a victory both over the rabbis and over God. Perhaps, on the other hand, their piety was itself a show of defiance. No one can say for certain. What is certain is this: prayer turns mockery into devotion, just as it turned prison caps into yarmulkas. It turns death into life, and thus recovers a trace of the Holy One who was consigned to death. It is not enough to learn Torah. One must dance Torah, for if we do not have Torah, we do not have prayer. And if we do not have prayer, we do not have God. The Nazis would then have achieved their aim. Please pass on this story.